Stars and stripes are big and bright, except for Tony Romo. What has happened to the Oscars? WTF. And the madness has started in college basketball. All this today on Downright Sports. Welcome everybody to Downright Sports, and I'm your host, Brent Reed. If this is your first time seeing it, that's who I am. And if I didn't send you the show, if you're not watching the show on YouTube, and I sent it to you via text message, Brad, then you just happen to know who I am. Anyway, we're going to dive into it. As you hear in the background, Biggie is playing today. We'll touch more on that later in the show. But let's go to the must-know news, and we kick it off. Tony Romo is done in Dallas. Tony Romo, who has spent almost the better part of a decade in Dallas as their lead quarterback. He holds the records for the most career touchdowns and yards in games played in Dallas. The only thing he doesn't have is a Super Bowl. Romo has had two playoff victories while playing in Dallas, but it's now over now that they found a new quarterback in Dak Prescott, and the team had success last year, having one of the first time ever in its franchise history winning 15 games. Never before in franchise 14, having one of the best records they've ever had before. I'm gonna have an update on that. I'll probably have it scrolled across the screen. Some of the teams that may land Tony could possibly be the Denver Broncos and the Houston Texans. Those are the big favorites. Wild card could probably be the Kansas City Chiefs, the Chicago Bears, maybe even the Arizona Cardinals. These are some teams that are considering Tony Romo's services, and why not? If he gives them 12 games in the playoffs, they have a chance at winning. Next, college basketball real season has begun as the madness for March is on currently right now. It's the conference championship games is what's going on currently right now. Some notable teams that have already clinched. Florida Gulf Coast has won the Atlantic Sun. Winthrop has won the Big South. And UNC Wilmington has won the Colonial. Wichita State has won the Missouri Valley. They're back in it again. And finally, Gonzaga wins the West Coast. They win it every year. Some of these teams, that's all they do. They're the best teams in their conference. God bless them. They just keep winning. But they will be in the tournament, which will start next week. And finally, this is just in. So if you're watching the show today, March 9th, this is breaking news. If you're watching the show later in the week, Sarah Sarah, Kirk Cousins has asked the Washington Redskins for a trade. Kirk Cousins, who is the first quarterback in NFL history who has been franchised twice, has decided he wants to be traded, and the front-running team, until a lot of people's thought, is that he would like to end up with the San Francisco 49ers because his former offensive coordinator and Kyle Shanahan, now the head coach there, is currently there, and he may want to join him, especially since one of his favorite target and wide receivers, Pierre Garçon, is now out there as their wide receiver. So we'll see how that ends up, even though the Redskins have told him no. So we'll see where that goes. Anyway, when we come back, the topic, hip-hop, sports, how the two have missed. Or music and sports, either way how you look at it. Anyway, Downright Sports. Everybody to the focus topic for today, and that's music and hip-hop. We're going to dive into that a little bit in a second. But I want to touch on why I'm playing big today. Today's the 20th anniversary of Biggie Smalls being gunned down and killed for no reason. I remember the day Biggie died. For some people, they remember when John Lennon died. That was huge. Oh, God, they killed John Lennon. Pac, of course, was killed a year before Big, and then Big the next year. But when Lennon died, that was big for a lot of people who grew up Beatles fans and loved John Lennon. My dad talks about it a little bit to this day because he was a big John Lennon fan. I personally didn't appreciate Biggie until I got older, because when Big got killed, I probably was 10 or 11, and didn't like rap, liked hip hop, but didn't understand what the heck they were talking about. I didn't grow up, that's, I didn't grow up selling crack, but you hear, Big's words and his wordplay and the use of the words and the way he just put stuff together. And Big told a story in some of his, in all of his music. He told a story, and you could listen and follow that story. It was like it was like a movie on an album. It was just like, wow, this is Big. That's him being Big. A lot of that is missing in some music today. You want to know the truth? There's no storytelling. You don't have that anymore. There's no storytelling. Little fun fact. On Biggie's first album, Ready to Die, only one person is on that album with him, and that is Method Man. Only person featured on that album. Nobody else. So everybody that talks about how much they were, Big was their man, guys from back then, just think about that. The only person he chose was Meth. But in any way, that leads us to hip-hop in sports. Hip-hop plays a big role and has since it's come out in sports, because it's gone from, like, if you go to a sporting event now, you can't go to one sporting event where there's no music being played, because the athletes want to hear it. As a few days ago, the Golden State Warriors played the Knicks. It was, in fact, this past Sunday. Golden State was upset, or Draymond Green, for that matter, was upset because there was no music. The Knicks wanted to try something different. They wanted to go the first half of the game without music and noise, just the game played the way it used to, just hear the sneakers and the chatter of the players. Draymond said it was disrespectful because music is part of our culture and we use music to get pumped. Yeah, whatever. I don't want to go that far, but it is true to being said how much music infects and influences us or gets us prepared for a sporting event. I know when I played baseball, when I coached basketball, I listened to music before every game, and I had my different genre of music or rap that I listened to get me hyped before every single game. Meek Mill recently, as a coach, used to get me up when I was getting ready for a game. When I played, I used to listen to Jay-Z or Kanye West's first album. A lot Big to some degree. A lot of West Coast music. They used to get me going, and it gets your juices flowing. And for some of the guys that talk, it just speaks to you. And if you look at music, and if you look at sports, so many musicians or so many rappers want to be athletes. So many athletes want to be musicians. That's evident when Kobe Bryant, Chris Webber, Allen Iverson all dropped records at one point. Yeah, if you're younger than the age of 21, Google Allen Iverson, Chris Webber, Kobe Bryant's rap records. The only one that was good was Shaq. Shaq was the only one that was good. Damn shame. Ron Artest at one point, or Meta World Peace, had a record label. And he used to promote the label more than he promoted his own gameplay. That's just how it is. They love it, the two words, because rap is another version of rock and roll is rebellious. If you're into rock, you're a rock star, man. Everybody loves you. Women love you. You got money. You could tear up a hotel room and nobody cares. And rap just takes it to a whole other level because, rap, you can shoot a guy and stab a guy and I'm slinging rock. Same worlds, just different avenues how to get there. And the two want to do that. The reason why rappers want to be sports stars is because sports stars got it there legitimately. And the reason why sports stars want to be rappers is because they want to be tough guys. And the rappers to them are tough guys. So, with that being said, it's real fun seeing how the two worlds mesh. And rock has the same thing. You got guys that listen to rock. My boy Tim used to get, he would listen to a lot of metal. My boy Joe would listen to 90s grunge to kind of get going. You listen to this stuff to kind of get you amped up in whatever way it takes form. But you can see it on the surface of it all. Rap and sports, their hands go hand in hand. A lot more in football and in basketball, but in baseball too. A lot of baseball guys, you go in clubhouses. The Cubs, for example, got a DJ in the clubhouse that's in there turning it up, hitting the ones and twos. So go figure. Anyway, that's been the topic for the day. Come back, we'll finish it off with my favorite segment, movies and video games. We are back with my favorite topic, movies and video games. Hopefully I time that right when I go like this, the thing pops up on the screen. I like doing little silly stuff like that. We all know movies and video games, if you've seen the show before, is the fastest part of the segment. It's where I basically just rant and talk about stuff I like, movies and video games. The Oscars were last week, and it pretty much threw us all in a tizzy. Last year, the Oscars, the biggest complaint was it was too many white movies that were nominated. Why so many white movies? Well, for my black brethren, there are a lot more white directors and actors than there are black directors and actors and producers. So it's tended going to be that way. So let's stop complaining. And, yeah. But in any case, I every year for the Oscars like to watch the movies that are nominated. So I have not seen Manchester by the Sea yet. I have Arrival. I will watch it later. I have Fences. I will also watch that later. I've seen Moonlight. I didn't finish it. If this was the Tony Kornheiser show, he would say he walked out on it halfway. I watched it here at home, and I turned it off. I shouldn't have won. No. Should the guy whose name I don't want to butcher, but his last name is Ali, won Best Supporting Actor? No. If he won Best Supporting Actor, then I should win Best Lead Actor for being in Back to the Future. Why did I say that? Because I was never in Back to the Future, and this guy was as much as in Moonlight as I was in Back to the Future. I haven't seen La La Land yet, and I will see La La Land. Little Dark Secret, I do like musicals, some musicals. I like Bye Bye Birdie. I like The Producers. Those are the only two. Other than that, Blaze of Saddles, I guess, could be considered a musical. But anyway, I don't go too far. I will watch La La Land. I was told it was pretty good. I was told it was epic towards the end. I will watch it to see if it should have. They just gave them the damn award. But Moonlight is not an Oscar movie. It's really not. What Moonlight was, and the reason why, for those who want to know why it was nominated, is because Moonlight was the Hood's version of Brokeback Mountain. So, spoiler alert, Moonlight basically is based on a movie about a kid who grows up in the hood with a crackhead mother who gets bullied and picked on by other guys in the neighborhood with little gay subliminal messages in the movie. Like, they kind of give like these gay nuances throughout the movie, that he's gay as a kid and he's attracted to men, and maybe this kid that keeps bullying him is attracted to him, and whatever the case is, and then his best friend is maybe into him. There's a point in the movie where him and his best friend hook up after smoking a joint. Wow. I don't care that the fact that, but if you see the story is the most preposterous thing I've ever seen. It was just ridiculous. I've never seen such crap. I thought you got the typical mom who's a crackhead, the lady who plays, if you watch the new James Bond movie, she's Moneypenny, or if you've seen any of the Pirates of the Caribbean, she's the chick, the black chick who is like casting spells and all that. Theodorma, something like that. Anyway, I just don't see how that was the movie of the year. When I watch Manchester by the Sea, I'll come back and comment. I'm gonna watch them all and comment. Give you a rundown if you didn't see the Oscars. Viola Davis got Best Supporting Actress, deserved. Casey Affleck won Best Male Actor, don't know about that. Emma Stone won Best Actress. They just had to give it to her, saw that coming. La La Land's director, who also did, if you haven't seen it, what's the name of the movie? Whiplash, good movie about the drummer. He directed La La Land. Damien Chazelle, I'm not going to butcher his last name. He's basically the director, and he won Best Director. I figure like this. If you win Best Director, it's only fair the movie you directed wins Movie of the Year. That's like winning the World Series MVP, but your team lost the World Series. Makes no sense whatsoever. Anyway, that's my take on the Oscars this year. Next week's show, we will talk about this new video game I'm buying, Horizon. And this is the longest time I've gone over on movies and video games. I'm at 5 minutes. I am ashamed. I shall have to eat ice cream as my punishment. Anyway, thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your week. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and let's go Duke, baby, as they play today. FYI, Virginia Tech does play Florida State. All right, thanks everybody.